Good evening. My name is Shelley Lewis, and I serve as president of the League of Women Voters of Geauga. On behalf of our board and the Political Action Committee of Kinston, we welcome you to our 2020 General Election Candidate Forum. Here with a special message from PAC is Kinston student Max Volrath.
Good evening. My name is Maxwell Volrath, and on behalf of the Political Actions Committee at Kinston, I'd like to thank you all for attending Candidates Night and showing your interest in politics. A principle of PAC is to educate those in our community on current political news and candidates. This has been a difficult year in every aspect of life and a huge year for political candidates. And so I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for putting on a virtual Candidates Night during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic. I would also like to thank the candidates for donating their time to discuss themselves and their ideas. This is a fundamental election, as it is an election for Congress and the President, with the census also occurring. With various state positions up for election too, this time more than ever, the American people need to get out to vote. Best said by Jackie Robinson, "I've never identified myself with one party or the other in politics. I always decide my vote by taking as careful a look at the actual candidates and the issues themselves, no matter the party label. Like Mr. Robinson, do not follow blindly behind one party tonight, but listen and decide for yourself who you believe to be the better candidate. In a controversial period, we need our voices heard. The best way for us to do so is to elect those we truly believe can accomplish that task." Thank you again and enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you, Max. A few words about candidate participation. For each race, candidates were invited using previously confirmed email addresses. Decisions not to participate are noted in red for each race. The League of Women Voters of Geauga does not support or oppose any individual candidate or party. Therefore, candidate participation in this forum should not be construed as a league endorsement of any individual's candidacy. Our format and rules for this evening. This is a forum to hear from and question the candidates. It is not a debate. We do not distinguish between incumbents and challengers. Therefore, you will not hear us use titles such as congresswoman or judge. We do not permit surrogates to stand in for the candidate. Candidates for each race present in alphabetical order by last name. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to present and must focus on their own qualifications and plans. The moderator then will present questions that have been gathered from the community via our website and screened by a league panel for compliance with our published criteria. Candidates have 1 minute to respond. Time limits will be strictly enforced. Candidates receive a 30-second alert during their opening remarks and a 10-second alert when responding to the community's questions. The time warnings will be visible to the candidates in the Zoom chat. The word "done" will be displayed in the Zoom chat when the time has elapsed. The moderator may, at their sole discretion, extend or shorten the questioning period. As a reminder, the League of Women Voters of Geauga is a nonpartisan political organization that encourages informed and active participation in government, works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. The League does not support or oppose individual candidates or parties. Our moderator tonight is Dr. Robert Lee. Dr. Lee serves as Vice President of the League of Women Voters of Geauga. Dr. Lee.
Thank you, Shelley. Ohio House 76th District. There are 2 people running for this office. One is Diane Grandell, and the other is Garrett Westhoven. Ms. Grandell did not respond, but tonight we do have Garrett Westhoven that is here to join us.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Garrett Westhoven, and I am the Democratic candidate for State House District 76. I'll begin by telling you a bit about myself. I'm a married father of 2 with a 5-year-old son, a 17-month-year-old daughter. I have 15 years of experience as a web developer. One of the reasons I'm running for office is to bring my technical expertise to the State House and help lead Ohio into the 21st century. Let me begin by saying I hope that none of you have lost any family or friends to the coronavirus, but if you have my heartfelt sympathy. Speaking to you via Zoom is a stark reminder of the pandemic we are living through and underscores the need to make sure that everyone has access to high-speed, affordable broadband. Whether your kids have been forced to attend school online or you are now working from home for the foreseeable future, the need for everyone to have access to high-speed, affordable connection to the internet has become critical. Building out the infrastructure necessary to handle this is something we can't wait on any longer. We need to set up a public-private partnership to ensure that everyone in Ohio has access to affordable high-speed connection. The next part of my platform I'd like to discuss is education. In 1997, the Supreme Court of Ohio determined that the system through which we fund our public schools is unconstitutional. 20 years later, we still haven't properly addressed this. It's time for us to end the system that bases education on developmentally inappropriate tests that only reflect the income of the local community and not the skill of the teachers or the quality of the school district. Also, public funds should fund public schools, full stop. Our voucher programs siphon funds from already underfunded districts and lines of pockets of corporations who are pulling from the same pool of teachers that public schools do and are outside the same system requirements that we hold our public schools to. This underfunding has made teaching during the pandemic, which would have been challenging in the best of circumstances, even harder than it needs to be. Finally, I'd like to discuss governing philosophy. I'm here tonight because I want to represent everyone in my district and not just those from one party. I also want to make my decisions based upon the best data available. I want to make sure that I'm available to respond to the needs of my constituents. I also want to help us govern for the real world and not a cable news bubble. We're in the middle of a global pandemic. Whether it be that or the myriad of other problems facing our state, we need to legislate for that reality. We're likely to lose a congressional seat in this redistricting process because an insufficient number of people are staying and coming into our state. We need policies that encourage our children to stay here and people and industries to come here. We could choose to become a leader. We could choose to become a leader in this, or we could, continue to try and same the policies and let people go away. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. My name is Garrett Westhoven, and I hope to have your vote on or before November 3rd. Thanks.
Thank you. We have several questions that were submitted to the League of Women Voters website, and we want to ask some of these questions submitted. First one, and just if you haven't saw the preamble of this, we'll ask a question and you'll have 1 minute and you'll get a pop-up just like you did to how much time you have left.
Okay.
So the first question is, COVID-19 has brought many economic harms to the state. What would you do to encourage a vibrant economy, both in your district and throughout Ohio?
To get a vibrant economy, we have to make sure that everyone is following the rules. Starting with, making sure everyone is wearing a mask. This allows, most businesses to be able to stay open and to function normally. Masks are one of the best things we can do to protect ourselves. The other thing is that we need to make sure that for something that, isn't necessarily pure commerce, like say education, our kids need to wear a mask in school, or we need to make sure that the schools have the funding they need to make sure they keep our kids and our administrators and other essential workers safe. While we do this, we can make sure that everything is being, done safely enough that our economy can get along. It's going to be challenging in the short term, but we need to make sure if everyone follows the rules, our cases can go down, and then we can consider to really start opening again. Right now, we're just sort of limping along, so we just need to make sure we continue to follow the rules, and in the long run, we'll be okay.
Okay, next question, which I think you may have addressed partial this, but if you want to expand upon this, it's a question about how would you work to implement a uniform internet access throughout your district for those who work and learn at home?
Yeah, so yeah, I touched upon this in my opening, but I think we need to create a public-private partnership. We need to treat broadband like a utility and need to make sure we build out the infrastructure to get there. This can also help create jobs, at least in a short-term process, to get the internet and build it out everywhere we need it to go. We need to make sure that and I think I'm particularly qualified for this because I'm a web developer. Like, I know what a real broadband connection is. um, a lot of people have, or a lot of companies claim they have something that is broadband, but it's really not sufficient for what we use the internet for today. So making sure we have a strong public-private partnership that helps build out this infrastructure is critical for everyone in the state of Ohio.
Okay. Third question that we have, do you think it's important to reduce the role of money in our elections? Why or why not?
Yes, it is absolutely critical that we try to reduce the role of money in our elections as much as humanly possible. Unfortunately, given the current circumstance, we are working inside the framework of Citizens United. So there are some things we can do with that, and just making sure that all donated money is disclosed to anyone requiring a political group or a super PAC or anything like that. There's a law actually in Montana called the Disclose Act that makes sure that anyone who sends out any sort of political mailer or anything like that has to disclose their donors. This, at the very least, shines money on who is putting money into elections. This, only gets us part of the way there. I think the final true solution is that we need a constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United. Like, that's what we have to push for. That's obviously a big ask, but that's the final solution to really get this where we need to go.
Thank you. The last question that we have is, what changes in Ohio's policing laws would you support or oppose, and why?
Um, so I think we need to make sure that there's things like we can't do no knock warrants. That I think is a potential violation of people's rights. We need to make sure that there is racial sensitivity training for all police officers to make sure that to try and eliminate as much racial biases as humanly possible. Um, we need to those are probably two of the biggest things that we can start to do to improve things. And more often than not, we just need to make sure that we have to start to build trust in our police force, whether you've been sexually assaulted or you're black or brown. There's a lot of people who simply do not trust the police. And we need to change the culture of our police force to ensure that people actually trust the police. Because when people don't trust the police, that's when more crime is committed. So we just need to change our police culture to make sure that people can trust them.
Well, thank you. And that's all the questions that we have for tonight. And I want to thank you for your participation in our first ever Zoom Candidates Night. Just want to have a notice that as indicated on the slide, there is going to be a rebroadcast of this event through the Geauga League of Women Voters, as you can see, and also on GTV via Spectrum, that they will also be replaying tonight's Candidates Night. Then the next thing for those who are on site is to also reference some of the other valuable things as we go through the selection process. As the voter guides, Vote 411 is an opportunity for registering to vote, update registrations. Also, the voters in Geauga County should have all received their printed voter guide that have the responses from all the candidates. And this is something that has been valuable, that has been produced here in Geauga County for many years. And for the judicial candidates, you can also go to the judicialvotescount.com, and that is another reference for people that have interest in the judicial candidates. So this concludes our Geauga County Candidates Night for 2020 general election. I want to take this opportunity to thank the candidates who participated tonight. The coronavirus has temporarily changed our world, and it takes courage and passion for our candidates to step out of their traditional campaign box and to speak to the Geauga County voters via Zoom format. The challenges of public office has also become a bit more complicated as a result of social media. So again, I want to thank each and every one of you for your desire and willingness either to enter and or to serve in the public arena. Special thanks goes to the Geauga County League of Women Voters and the Kenston Schools Student Political Action Committee. Individuals in both groups voted many hours of their time to make this event happen. The Geauga League of Women Voters are going to continue to remain equally passionate about increasing voter participation and creating more informed citizens. Thank you again for participating and best wishes.